Hello, good morning, and welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. My name is Rotimi. It's such a pleasure to be here, and we're excited to be here once again. Been a long time, and I would like to say thank you for everyone and to everyone who's joined us today. We're streaming from Lagos, Nigeria, to West Africa, to Africa, and the entire world. This is just going to be a wonderful time. And I'd like to start by saying good morning to Mohammed Soko Kamara, who's saying good morning to us and he's saying it's a pleasure to be here. It's also a pleasure to have you. And of course, we ring the bell of blessing to those who are joining us for a long time or for the first time as well. Thank you for joining. Welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. On the show, we deal with the issues within and around the world of education. We talk about things that bother us and also drive for development and all. And today is not going to be an exception. And I would like to let you know that the Good Morning Education Show gives you an opportunity to share your thoughts on the subject matter of discussion. But don't just stop there. Ask question if you have to ask question. If there are questions you have at the back of your mind, please feel free to ask your question as well. And also, good morning to Smart, Mr. Smart Ongara. Thank you for joining. It's been a long time. Great to have you here. And we're excited that you're here and trust you. It's going to be a great time. Thank you, Simon Sanga. Thank you to be, and thank you for joining. And of course, we have our analyst who is getting set to join us, Dr. Omotola the Great. If you've never heard her speak, you should hear her today. And if you've always heard her speak, I'm sure it's also a pleasure to have her once again. Ladies and gentlemen, drum roll as I bring up Dr. Omotola the Great. I call her Dr. Omotola the Great. She's also known as Professor Tola. That's her new brand name. And of course, she's going to be taking the news review together with me, and we're going to be having a great topic. Remember, today we'll be talking about something that we've not done before. We're speaking on comfort zone eviction. We are setting a lot of things on fire today. Quick notice to everyone in the comfort zone. Ladies and gentlemen, go nowhere. I will be right back, and I'm going to be bringing Dr. Omotola or Professor Omotola up in just about a second or two. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Dr. Omotola, how are you? Good morning.
Morning, good morning. Good to be back. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, pop up the volume a bit. Pop up the
Okay.
volume.
Is it better?
Fantastic, fantastic. And Ayobolale, thank you for joining. Good to see you, Dr. Omotola. It feels like it's a year already.
Yes, I'm happy to be back on the show. Thank you for having
Fantastic.
me.
Yes, yes, yes. Good to see you. Good to have you. And it's going to be a great morning indeed. Our conversation today is quite interesting. And I know that we will have a great time today on the show. We'll spend some time to look at the reviews and also talk about some of the things that probably are making headlines. I would like us to start with the nationwide strike. I know you don't like to hear that, but strike seems to be a familiar subject matter on this side of the world. Another ASU nationwide strike imminent as FG gets 3 week warning. So, Dr. Motola, I want to pass that to you. Over to you.
First and foremost, I'm like, no, 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 this is wrong. But I'm really hoping that hopefully it's not a long one if they have to go on this strike and hopefully things are resolved. And my other thing is like, what is the cost of it? Because upon reading the headline, I guess because they didn't do the demands that they asked them to give, so that's why they're going on this strike and they're giving the federal government 3 weeks. And if they don't do that within 3 weeks, they said they're going to go on a strike that will start November 15th, which I guess um, has passed already. So, and this is all about the unpaid and academic allowance, and then not non-implementation of universities revitalization funds. And so, more than ever, like I would hope that the government will do the right thing and find a way to meet the halfway. so that students don't suffer. Because at the end of the day, it's the student that suffers more than any other person. But yes, I hope that this will not be like a 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months strike. So finger crossed. Back to you.
All right. Thank you so much. I know that strike is a subject matter that, though frequent, actually is an indicator. And most of the time, I like to let people understand, as much as we don't like some things, when they happen or when we see them happen, it gives us opportunity to dig further, and also question some things, right? While we know some things might be bad or not be in place, but I feel that we are at the brink where we need to question um, the existence and the functionality of some institutions. And when we come to the issue of university strike, nationwide strike, there are going to be a lot of agencies that need to sit down, not at the point of negotiation, but at the point of planning and progression. National University Commission, for example, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Labor, or the Minister of Labor, then the Ministry of Commerce, and then you have all these other smaller platforms, especially associations, pressure groups like ASU, NASU, and all those things. They need to sit down, not from the angle of, and all the university administrators, they need to sit down together beyond the issue of, oh, there's a particular agreement federal government needs to honor or not. We need to plan the future of education when it comes to the tertiary education, the delivery of it, the non-interruption of calendar, the ability to profile the future and say, this is what's going to happen. Next 10 years, we don't want any form of alteration. We don't want the academic activities to stop. And there are many factors that we need to look at, because if this thing doesn't happen, listen, we will always have a reactive approach to the issues, and strike, God forbid, will always happen. As the world is advancing, we will still have these issues, because it's like there's no blueprint for the future. The terrain is just borderless and blueprintless. Let's welcome Olushola Olumide to the show. Good morning, Olushola Olumide. Welcome to
Good morning, Rochimi. I'm trying to look at the face of the other person there. I think the screen is ASU
It's
issue is
looking,
blocking.
it's looking
ASU
fine now. That's right. It's
ASU
looking fine.
issue no ASU issue is even blocking me. The
Oh, okay.
paste, yes, is
Can you see the
blocking.
face now?
Not yet. Good morning,
Ah,
education show is
let's see
also
the face now.
blocking.
Hey, you must see
Let
the
me see
face.
this face.
Ah, ah. Oh
Oh,
my
Dr.
goodness.
Motola, this
Tell
is
of justice.
serious.
Oh
In
my goodness.
fact,
Good morning.
If we had
good
the most
morning.
beautiful professor in education,
No,
so
the one Dr. Motola, the way she came out today is as if somebody who is in the studio.
I'm telling you,
Uh,
she's doing some. Let's
Good
not
morning,
carry on.
good morning. Been a while. How are you? How is the state?
Doing
Good.
fine. Thank you.
Nice to be here this morning. I think we can overflog the issue of a ASU strike. Sincerely speaking, if we think there will be future, then, like Rotimi said, a lot of stakeholders need to sit down and have a blueprint for the future, or else this will be a recurring decimal. So let me leave you at that. Thank you.
All right. So moving on the news, we have another interesting news. Things getting worse. Police makes new revelation as court remands Unilorin students who beat lecturer in prison. Wow. I'm sure you've been following this news. Let's hear from Olushola what you have to say.
Yes, I've been following. In fact, by 9 a.m. now, I'll be talking about the same issue on Metro FM. I don't have the full story. I wasn't there. So the issue of who is right, who is wrong is not the issue now. But it's a clear court case of mental health issue. Maybe it was triggered. Maybe the post of all happened. Maybe aggression or frustration. Whatever be the case, my take is that this is a clear case of mental health issue. And then we should be awake and alive already from the COVID to after the COVID. A lot of mental health issues had cropped up. People's mental health are depleted. Aggression here and there. There have been problems with conflict. People find it difficult to even manage anger. Thank God the lecturer didn't die, but whichever way, beating up the lecturer, I'm not sure is the right thing to do. So I wasn't there. I wouldn't know what transpired, but it is a no-no. And beyond sending the boy away or whatever, I think he needs therapy. And it's a clarion call to all our institutions, primary, secondary, tertiary level. People should be profiled. They should run through therapy. People should not just sit and overlook certain things. It becomes a keg of gunpowder that can explode and shatters everybody. I can assure you that that is one of the many cases that may likely come up in the future. There are other students there having their issues too. So for me, the only picture, the biggest picture I can see is that this is a mental case issue, and school institutions should rise up. The counseling session should be fortified, should be equipped, professionals should be employed, and we shouldn't overlook it. Take, for example, if a student came to school with malaria or with typhoid fever or with ulcer, we will take them to the health center, we'll treat them. All these our students having mental case issue, behavioral personality disorder. Is anybody doing anything about it? Or until somebody is almost strangled to death before we realize that there are mental issue or there are mental health cases? I think we should all the institutions, founders of school, government, the people at the administrative and leadership level should please know that it's business as usual. Mental health issue should be taken serious. Thank you.
All right. Dr. Motala, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I think Mr. Olushola already completed the work on this, but my own addition would say that yes, I really believe that our education has been one-sided. We focus more on the academics and or getting a job, but we've totally neglected the mental and emotional health of the students. And in reading the news, I like they said he already used hard drugs before going in to see the professor, so he wasn't even thinking in his right mind. And then, so I really hope that at the end of the day, that justice is served, but at the same time, that whatever help or resources that the students might need is also given, irrespective of what he has done. And I hope that this never happens again.
Thank you so much. You see, I think that we also probably need to also note that, like Olushola has said, on the Good Morning Education Show, and then those of us that can do something about it, we need to probably champion this from our own line of perspective. You see, education, we say it sometimes and people open their eyes and feel we're saying the wrong thing. Education is business. And I think we should sometimes wear the hat of business and service delivery, because if you pack people together, forget the fact that it means a lot to them to get a degree. But the point of core here is that you're rendering a service. You've offered admission, they've accepted admission, they've paid the requisite amount for getting the admission. So I believe that it's necessary and it's just the normal thing to make sure that we don't put these people like they are cargo. Even cargo, there's a way you treat baggages, or else the people who own it can sue you, you know. We have taken students for granted. I think the only people we regard are people who begin directly to see that they earn money for themselves, or they are working professionals, or probably they wear suit and tie. I think that we need to recognize that the moment you're an adult, and anybody in the true sense of it, you should be able to respect them. You know, so when students go into, we face this thing, some of us that schooled in Nigeria for first degree, you get into the university and all level of different kind of administrative staff, you find out that some people talk to you anyhow, treat you anyhow, and they feel that, look, you are not yet worthy of respect until you've achieved success to them, material success. I think that is the reason why some of these things are like that. So people will lecture in a way and they don't feel accountable. They'll do this, they don't feel accountable. I think we need to get it at the back of our minds. Age should never be something we discriminate against. Gender should never be something we discriminate against. Knowledge or knowledge level should be nothing we should discriminate against. What I don't know now is just a function of comprehension. The moment I comprehend it, you don't have any power over me on that. And so, because like Olushola said, mental health, some of these children in schools, the environment is frustrating. They are trying to keep themselves away from cultism. They're trying to get to ensure that they succeed in class. They are not learning, and some people already know it's not a prophecy that they will not pass an exam. Why? Learning did not take place. Their reading style does not help them. So they are seeing failure already. So some of these people back in the negative extremes because sometimes they either give up their values or the values were not even there in the first place. You understand? The university environment should not kill resources, it should breed resources. It should not kill values, it should groom values. It should not kill interest, it should birth interest. That's what I feel, and I believe that will work one day as we pray. So let's get to another headline. Afebabalola 6, arrest, imprisonment of operators of illegal universities. Dr. Motola, let's hear your thoughts on this.
Like my home question is, what is the definition of illegal university? Because when I was reading it, it's true. Because I'm like, wait, first and foremost, like, what is the criteria? Because based on what he was saying, it was making sense until he got to the point when he said that, oh, that state government and politicians should not establish university because after they leave, it's no longer sustainable. So I'm like, wait, where are we going from one you jump to 100? This is not making sense for me. So I need a clarification on what is the definition of legal in university. He did not clarify that. And if NUC knows about them and they still keep them active, so maybe they're up to par and up to code according to that body. And then I also say that we are in need of a change in our university education system because one of the things that I see is that when I think of the requirements for having a university, it is ridiculous and totally vexing and annoying. I have a dream of having a university, and like I've been thinking about it for so long, and I know that I have the tools, the resources, the curriculum, and everything. But the ridiculous requirements part of that thing totally disregard what I have to offer. So I wonder if this is the case where people really have something to offer to change the education system, to make it better, to innovate in it, and then he want to keep the traditional standard that is not working. And I think we all know the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So for me right now, I will say that I have no comments beyond what I've just said regarding that.
Olusola, do you have anything to say on that?
Yes, what I wish to say, if we want to really go by the word illegality, I think they are trying to jeopardize the future of the student because once NUC, in fact, for the legalized institutions, if NUC does not accredit a particular course, you are not expected to admit students to that department. If you do, they will not graduate. And now, if a school, there are some mushroom schools who starts a program expecting that they will get accreditation. Students are paid. Some of them are in ND1. I have a case like that. By the time the student was supposed to move to ND2, they said eventually that course was not accredited by NUC. They were asked to go. And nobody's ready to refund your money. So on that ground, I think there are many corporate
Yeah, we lost him, right?
Yeah, it's
Uh,
gone. Yeah, hopefully it comes back.
okay. So yeah, I think that the the writings are clear. You know, we are getting to an era where we cannot run away from the fact that one of our key core challenges in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, Nigeria to be precise, is the mismanagement of education, both in system and in modeling. We have to deal with that. Yes, there's funding. Yes, there's all those challenges, but those are not the core problems. Do you get my point? They are not the core problems. The real core problem is the mismanagement, because when we don't manage education as a system, as a whole, then even when we have some funding, the funding will leak. We will not judiciously use it, or our direction and agenda will not really make it have the best of use. You understand? And probably that's why we're not attracting the kind of funding that is causing us to consistently be talking about strike today, strike tomorrow. You know, you've said that thing many times, Dr. Motola, and sometimes people think it's not rocket science. And if at all it's rocket science, why is it that an higher institution cannot devote time to solve its own problems? I'm always going cap in hand, and it's not the best. But really, Olushola is back. I think he wants to end up with this session, a statement here. Over to you, sir, Olushola Lumide.
What you just said.
You were cut off. I don't know if you still want to continue what
Hello.
you're saying. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Sorry. The network glitch. So what I was trying to say is that illegality in all forms should be discouraged, and students too should be wary. Don't just jump on any admission. People will just send you text message. Oh, you have been admitted to a school you never applied to, and nobody finds out is the school registered, the course in question, is it accredited, for how long, for 2 years, is it interim or full accreditation? So illegality cannot afford to be tolerated, because a lot of people will be affected. You know, there were students who migrated to a particular country in the sub-Saharan Africa, doing a lot of courses, only for them to realize that those courses were never accredited. I know a student who was in maybe 300 level pharmacy, only to discover that that course was not accredited. She had to come back home and start afresh. So in a way, if it's truly illegal, I think and students needs to do their background check. No amount of prosecution will restore the time you have wasted and the money you have lost. Litigation can go on the customer, the student, and their parents to do their proper findings. We may clamp down on the school. We may even close the school. Yes, some of them were awaiting graduation, only to be told that the course was never accredited. Try to, if that school was truly a school or not. So I am not against prosecution. It is good to find out if they are truly illegal, but individuals should go out of their way, find out if where you are going is actually school or not. Thank you very much.
I like that statement. It's not that where you made is either school or not. We hope you will be finding out the person pointing to you in school or not. And we are so creative in this part of the world. Just that our creativity is lacking values, is
on
lacking,
on
is lacking
on the
on
on the negative side.
you'll be shocked before the verification of universities. You will see the top 10 verified universities are the non-existing universities. Oh, okay, so let's move on.
Another
Moving
thing
on.
that I found interesting, one last thing, was that according to that report, it said that they've been posting the names of these schools every single year for like several years. and still NUC is not doing anything. So I'm like, if they're not doing anything, are they really illegal, or is it that, like you said, the mismanagement is just so, the same with corruption, that it's just so blatant that they are not doing anything and don't care about the students, about the future of the education system. So that was another thing I found baffling in the whole thing.
Anyway, let's welcome Titi. Titi, give us some energizer. Titi, good morning. Welcome back on the show.
Good morning,
I was about
everyone.
asking. I was about asking if I'm seeing Titi.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's good to be back after my small sabbatical.
This week, there is going to be a
Aderi,
lot of ginger this week. Oh.
Aderi has also been missing in action sometimes, but thank you for joining.
Good morning, everyone.
Dary, say hello to us now. Dary has been making African continental impact.
In fact,
I'm sure she's going to make Santa Claus should come early this year.
Oh, of course, Africa is on fire. Positively now.
Yeah. Yes. Good morning. How was your weekend?
Very well.
Great, but packed.
I brought in an award from my last mission. So dedicated to the Good Education crew.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay, so we are on another headline, and that headline says, "Stop posting core members without education degrees to schools." Stop posting core members without education degrees. I'm going to start with Derry, then I'm going to Titi on that, then we'll go to Omotola, then Olushola. So Derry, let's hear your thoughts on this.
Well, I don't think it's like, how many people do have an education degree in Nigeria? It's not like if we consider like schools are the major places that core members are posted to. So if they don't post them to school, where would they be? Like how many, like what's the number that private establishments can possibly accommodate? So saying they should not put them to school is not practical, in my own opinion. It's not practical. And I always say that the thing is, almost anybody can pick up a skill. What I would expect that the NYSC camp should be about, apart from the regular physical trainings they do, is probably, you are going to post people to schools anyway. So why don't you bring a facilitator that is an educator to teach them the skill of how to teach in the classroom, instead of saying don't post them? That is where they will post them to. So just instead teach them, economic in school, in the 1 week will teach you great teaching that will make you deliver that same knowledge to people. I think that's a solution, instead of that one won't work, in my opinion.
Honestly, I think you've hit it on the head, because I'm just looking at myself. I'm being a recipient of core members that were sent to school. When I was in secondary school, I went to a unity school. We had core members that were sent to our school. They came with like life and energy compared to our grandma and grandwoman. They came with energy. They came with passion. They opened our eyes to new ways of doing it. Of course, it also made all the girls excited when the young guys. But I think about them. One came, he taught art. One came, he taught economics. They just brought some, newness to the teaching, and they didn't have education degrees. So there's that thing. And then for some schools, that's the first time they see that they get good quality teachers. Because people are just coming fresh. The knowledge, the theoretical knowledge is fresh in your brain. I was posted to a school, it's just the way the school was so excited to receive core members. I say, hey. So there's the practical aspect of this thing, and that's what That's what you said. When you come to the numbers, how many people in education do we have relative to the number of schools? Sometimes some schools only really get, especially when you start going to the rural areas, they only really seem to get very good teachers during the NYC year. So why do you want to deprive them of that? But if you say, okay, there are gaps, what you should do is exactly what you suggested, whereby then get an educator that then helps them refine the way in which they will teach. But I think it's a very, very important thing to send core members to schools for subjects that there's some stories that if they don't send core members, they will never even get teachers for. That's just the interesting thing about it. So while I understand his concern, I still think that it's not throw away the baby with the bathwater. Thank you. Rotimi, you're on mute.
Yes.
Okay.
So does Olushola have anything to say on this? Oh, it's out. How about Dr. Motola?
Yeah, I'll say that I agree with what Titi and Darren has already said. And just to add that, I think that we've not invested enough in education or even building the teacher pathway career for them to make this statement to say that do not take couples to school that are not focused on education. Like the prescription that the other analyst has given is appropriate. And then even if they cannot do it on a national scale, let's say they cannot do it within the what do you call it, within the NYSC camp, schools themselves, especially public schools, should take it upon themselves to have like their own orientation and a crash course or boot camp. Okay, lesson plan. This is best. But the truth is, I don't think they even have the energy or the quality of trainers and facilitators to do that. So I think more than ever, we need to invest in education, not just with our words and saying and ultimatums to say you must do this, but actually the system, the management, the funding, everything, the teaching, the training as well. So I agree that they shouldn't stop posting couples to school. I remember I went to a public junior secondary school and we didn't have 5 teachers out of the 11 teachers we're supposed to have to sit for junior GCE. So without those couples, for 1 year we didn't have, it was SS2 that GS2 that we had teachers. And so it's not even like they are making a difference and they are filling a gap. So they can be trained better, but they should not be stopped from teaching in schools.
All right. Thank you so much. And on that note, I think we just need to get to the conversation. Having powerhouse like this today, we can't spend too much time talking on headlines. Let's talk about lifelines than headlines. All right. So we're talking about comfort zone eviction. Comfort zone eviction. And I love the mixture of the kind of people I have today. We're having Dr. Motola, we're having Demi, having TT, we're having Olushola. It's going to be a bumper time. So, ladies and gentlemen, all over the world, and thank you to all those of us joining from Sierra Leone, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Ghana, and UK, US. You guys, thank you. Alera is answering on the other side. She should be on this show. I don't know why she's doing like this. God members who have interest. Well, anyway, Alera, I'm not gonna read your comment until you come online. All right, so comfort zone eviction. I'm sure definitely several things came to mind. Titi, I'm going to start with you. Yeah, what does this depict to you? Comfort zone eviction. What does that depict to you? Hello, Titi, are you there?
Are you starting with me?
Yes.
I was waiting to hear what other people say. Even me, I want to be ejected from my comfort zone.
Yes, so that's the point.
I think I'll only say this. They say growth only happens when you move out of your comfort zone. And it's a statement of it's a scary place to try to step out of, but real growth only happens out of your comfort zone. So what would make one What would make you get out of your comfort zone? I think, is to set yourself a scary goal, a goal that is, bigger than you, and then try to, fulfill it. So for some people, and I'll say a few of the things that I've done. I always wanted to do, conference, but I just always used to feel that conferences are so stressful. You've gone to some conferences that when you just think of all the organizing it, it's scary. But I then made up my mind I was going to give it a go. You know what? For me, it was like a scary goal. And it's interesting that the moment you make that decision, it's almost as if, I don't want to say, it's almost as if God hears you, and then things start to he starts to send the resources your way, even though you still need to do the work, you know even though you still need to do the work. But it's something that you first of all need to set the goal and then start the process. And somehow things then fall in line. So that's my little token. Back to you, Rotimi. Let me hear from others. I'm here
All
to
right.
learn today.
So still on the matter. So let's hear from Daria. Daria, I know she's been doing a lot of phenomenal stuff. In fact, I heard a story that she shared. I think it was on her platform that she shared that she had actually started something before what she's currently doing, and she had to change strategies, and now she went to launch out on a bigger scale, and she's doing an amazing thing. I want you to tell us from your personal story. How have you been able to battle your comfort zone experience? How did you serve it quick notice?
I, like she already said, greatness is not, you can't achieve greatness doing doing what you're comfortable doing. And why I say this is many people are so scared of what is on the other side that they stay stuck doing what maybe they know is not working, and they just keep doing it because they are scared of what's on the other side. And like you said, I narrated that story on my distance that the first I'd run the business for several years, maybe since 2010 and all that. So like, and I built that other business up to an extent that I could, I could scale it. I could be out of the business. So when I decided I wanted to start the education of youths, I think I decided in 2017, November, after I went to Ghana, and there was just a wake up call moment for me that I realized that, oh, I was just on a PhD. It's not like I can say I was learned, because distinction did not mean I knew a lot of things that I should know. So it was basically, I remember coming back in 2017, November, and I went to my HOD, who is also my PhD supervisor, and told him that, sir, there is this thing I learned in this thing. I want to organize a thing for people to learn. And he was like, oh, this, that, I know a lot of bureaucracy. I don't want to go into all that. But the bottom line is, I got a pushback from there. I said, okay, let's 2018, I had to be in Aberdeen for like the better part of the year. I came back in December. And 2019, I decided to launch out this particular thing. And I gathered a group of people like, oh, the idea was great. The sensation around STEM skills was great. But here is the thing. When you know that, I always say, like, tell people that when you have an idea, your idea is not enough. Your idea is not enough. Like even like people that are, well, like anybody can have an idea. My 6-year-old has an idea. Execution is what differentiates the people that will end up succeeding and the ones that don't. And that execution is what most people are afraid of. And why most people still keep telling you that, oh, I have idea. They stay in that comfort zone of, I have idea only if I have money, only if I have this, only if I have that. I always say the moment you are in a place and you are saying, if I had this, I will be this. I said, you are still there. Go out of that place. That thing that I say, if you had this, go and think of how, like, stop thinking of the idea. Go and think of how that other one that you are saying, if I had this, should be what is clouding your mind. You already know that if you add this, you will do this, but you are holding on to the idea and romanticizing it and saying this, that, 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 that. I launched out. I had to end that thing in 2019. I always say, even for you that you leave your comfort zone, there is no guarantee it will work. There is no guarantee. But if there's anything I have learned, I remember that when that thing was going to come crashing, and in fact, I spent, apart from money on the enterprise, I spent money in gaining knowledge on how to make it work, despite it was failing. But I got to that point, I realized this won't work, not because the idea wasn't great, not because, but I knew what I lacked, which was the human resources that I gathered, the skill set of the people that are doing it. So I left that place and I said this was going to end and I was going to start again. So leaving your comfort zone does not guarantee you that you would succeed, because you can still do things wrongly. But I always say, like, fail fast so that you can start succeeding fast. That's the way I think about things. Like, fail fast. Go and fail fast. Then we can move on to the success part, because that is the only way you can actually see all that success that you're putting in your head. Get out of the, like, oh, it's going to be perfect. I don't wait for perfection. I get it done. Perfection doesn't exist. Like, it's just doesn't exist. Get it done, and along the way, you would figure the rest out. That's the way I think about it. Like, just get out of your own way.
Thank you so much. Someone would rightly say that sometimes perfection or perfectionism is procrastination in disguise. Uh, but then I'd like to ask Dr. Motola this question. So they really touched some soft spots. How do you now articulate the issue of consistency and comfort zone? What's the contrast? Because sometimes, you have to keep on at some things. We hear people say, what, don't give up. Sometimes it's not guaranteed, but you have to continue. How do we differentiate consistency at something, as opposed to being just in your comfort zone that you just want to keep doing that thing?
Yeah, so I'll say it starts with the goal, like having the goal, the end in mind. So what is the goal? Is it clear? So it's not just about living for, like, we all know ourselves. Let's say you're a business person. You have a projected goal of this is the amount of money I want to make this year or this month. Then there's the version of the stretch one. So the projected one is the comfort zone. You know that, okay, if I do this, if I do that, I can actually do this. But the stretch one is like, you know what, this would take me to, like, normally, let's say your projected goal, you can meet it if you just talk to 10 people and then they pay you and then you're good. But your stretch one, which would take you out of your comfort zone, will require you to talk to like 50 more people, talk to new people, have partnership and things like that. So you have to be really clear, like, wait, what's the price? What is the price of the future? So I always tell people, it's the price for the price, the PRICE for the PRIZE. So if you're clear about the price and what, then it will make you do the stretch in that regard. And then regarding what you said about, is this just stubbornness or is it like really consistency? I think anything worth doing is worth doing well. And you have, like some of the other tribe members have said, you need to know where are you good at. It's not as if you're working on something that is not your area of genius and you're just trying to force yourself because you think you should do it or everybody say you should do it. That one is different. That one is just wasting your time. And no matter what you do, you know that your result is still not going to improve. But if you actually work in your area of genius, which sometimes a lot of us, we don't want to do that because we're like, oh, if I focus on this area, if I double down on it, I'm not sure if it's going to be successful. So because of that, people are afraid to make that leap. But honestly, it's in that focus, like where you divert that your energy to say, you know what, I know this is my area of genius. I know I'm good, but the way to be better, the way to be the best, the way to actually succeed is by trying and trying. And there's this quote that says that, you know what, if you've not gotten the result that you want, then that means you've not failed enough. So like Darren said, no matter what thing, whatever level you want to achieve, to get outside of your comfort zone, you have to fail fast, fail more than any other person before you can get out of that. But most people, they don't want to fail. The fear of failure or the is so huge on so many people that they talk themselves out of their greatness. They talk themselves out of stepping out of their comfort zone because they are like, you know what? I don't want to feel what will people say, what will people think, a whole me. And with this social media live and everything, like everybody's trying to keep up with the Jonas and everything, that also affects like really showing up as your full self and going after the things you want to go after that will push you outside of your comfort zone. Also, you have to define for yourself what is comfort zone to you. What might be comfort zone to me, or what is outside of my comfort zone might be something else to somebody else. And so you cannot compare your life with other people. You have to really get clear about what you want, what is your goal, and then what are you willing to give up or sacrifice towards getting it and going after that. And that might be time, resources, money, all of that expertise.
Thank you so much. Still on comfort zone eviction. Now, I want us to focus a bit more on the eviction, right? And I want to hear Olushola's thoughts on that. I know that there's a lot of mental work that goes into even thinking about getting out of your comfort zone. Are there methodologies to getting out? If there are, could you share with us a practical approach or methodology for an individual or a group of people to get out, to get their comfort zone evicted out of their reality? Over to you.
Thank you very much. And I think our analyst has said a lot of great things. Talking about the eviction, I think the ego comes to mind. And after nurturing the eaglet for a while, he knows that by now the eaglet needs to stretch the wings. Then takes the eaglet on a journey. And taking the eaglet to a sky where he will drop the eaglet. At that junction, the eaglet has no choice than to flip those wings. Greatness doesn't come cheap. It will cost us something. The methodology is that get dissatisfied with your present condition. Until you are dissatisfied with your present condition, you will be comfortably trapped. And we need to do this from time to time. You have attained a level. You don't want to play too at that level because the world is evolving. People are moving on. What you call success today, that you are celebrated today, in the next 1 year, somebody will break that record. And if you don't do something about your situation, you will be confined to the dustbin of history. Records are constantly being broken. Records are even meant to be broken. Number two, seek counsel to get clarity. I have said it before, I'm saying it again, that your emotion does not necessarily mean you have direction. So that you don't dissipate energy unnecessarily. You need counseling. You need to be helped and taught. Once again, I want to say a big thank you to Dr. Deering for the idea. Train Africa thing. I had to tell my mentee to join this session. Let them come and listen to great minds. People from different perspectives, different expertise, and I can see one of them commenting. Some of them are shouting me, I've joined. So that is what I think they need to learn, especially those in the education space. Somebody is working in a school, your salary increases every year by 2,000, 3,000, and you are saying you are poor. The question is, that place you are you okay? If no, what are you still doing there? So now to get counseling for clarity. Number three, people you are going to report to. In deadline, you have no choice than to get it done. You have been given a book to read. It takes 2 months. Read it, file in the summary, then you go to the next one. So, no two way about it. It's not a magic. So I am of the opinion that once you get satisfied, you get counseling, you get an accountability partner. Then number 4, measure your growth. Where was I before? Where am I now? and where am I heading to? You need to take appraisal every now and then so that you are not just in illusion thinking you are making it, whereas you are not making it. See, the growth may be small, but let it be steady. The dots will connect by and by, and somebody comes to you and say, the way that guy was talking, very loaded. It didn't just happen overnight. Like Dr. Motola said, fail fast. Dr. Deni, don't just fail fast, fail forward. Because repeated failure can sink your mind. As you fail fast, beyond failing fast, fail forward. But see every positive thing in what you are going through. As I want to round up my session, my submission now, a very clear example is in the Holy Writ about those 4 lepers. They query and question where they were. Where we are, we have been ostracized from the common people. Hunger will kill us here. If you go to the city, the Syrians, there's a probability that we may die, we may not die. It means if you are going to be tall, your leg will be long. It is not left for you to stretch that leg. If you don't want to stretch your leg, you remain perpetually a dwarf. Thank you very much.
I know Dr. Matola probably is archiving all the proverbial statements Olushola is always making. If you are going to be told you have to know what happened to your legs, definitely. Or you use platforms or heels, 6 inches, preferably. All right, so Titi, I want Titi to give us this perspective. I know sometimes Titi is one person that can ask questions for Africa. And, sometimes I feel like I feel sometimes I'm under an audition of some sort. Like Titi's auditioning me for one role. So but then it's very interesting. I like Titi to tell us, how can we get to that point where to think about that possibility, because I think I can hear what everybody is saying, that there has to be some retrospect for you to move out of your comfort zone. Sometimes people acknowledge and realize that there's a need to shift. They accept and they believe in the shift. But just to articulate that thing, and Titi, you sometimes ask me questions sometimes. And inside me, I'm saying a prayer, Holy Spirit, where are you? Because I have to be honest to say that as it is, but I can't lie. I have to be honest, but at the same time, I want to be able to articulate it that, okay, sometimes it's lost in the thought. How can we break it down? How can we break it to the point of birthing it? Because a lot of people have asked that question as well. And some people probably are in that state where they all agree, listening to Darren, listening to Motola, listening to Olushola, listening to you and myself, that we want to serve our comfort zone quick notice, eviction today. Well, how do we even do this thing? I have an idea. How do I think it? Over to you.
Okay, Rotimi, I don't know whether I can answer this question, but you kind of said the answer. I have a feeling that if you are wherever you are now, you are the local champion. Do you get? You are the local champion of where you are now. You're in your comfort zone. I like what Dr. Daniel Sola said, that when you go to a place and you fail, that is the place where you should be. So you need to ask yourself, what are you afraid of? As in, when you see other people doing things in your mind, you're like, how are they doing that thing? That's where you should be. There's something about moving with risk takers, something about moving with people that are in front of you. If you are moving with people that are the same level, it's hard for you to move away, because you are the one-eyed man in the land of the blind. So you need to be following certain people on Instagram, not in Nigeria alone, around the world, and you're amazed at what they are doing. And ask yourself, Why can't I do the same thing here in my country? So I think the first thing is really about, surrounding yourself with people that are ahead of you. It's a problem when you're, I don't want to say when you're moving with your mates. You need to, and it doesn't have to be a physical, a physical interaction, as like the physical people. There's some people you follow and they're like, this guy in front of me, this is where I want to be. I think that's really the first thing, because when you walk with risk takers and you hear them say how they got there, you're like, really? When the person tells you that, I was like, yo, but I said, let me try this thing. I tried, I failed the first time. That's why I like what Dr. Irene said, what she said, I tried and I failed the first time. But when you fail something the first time, when you see how close you are, when you see the lessons you took from there, it gives you the confidence for the next thing. But if you do not embrace the fact that the best teacher is failure, I think it's hard to break out of your comfort zone. So you need to go and plan and say, you know what, I'm going to go and do something that even if, I'm going to feel at it, but I'm going to come out of it better. So to kind of simplify my, what I'm saying, I think the first thing is go and move with risk takers, go and move with people that are ahead of you and say, this is where I want to be. It could be in something else, but just look for 2, 3, 4 people, whether it's in online, whether it's physical or whatever it is, that you feel that not small ahead of you, way ahead of you, and say to yourself that this is where you kind of want to go. The more you listen to their stories, and that's what I like about biographies or listening to people tell their journey, the more you listen to their story, you realize that they're like, how the disciples say that we are ordinary men, we're just like you. They never realize that these people that you put on a projection that are bigger than life are ordinary people that just took that risk. And it makes it a bit easier. Once you hear their journey, they started this. I just went to go and call one person, and the person said, okay. And you're like, okay, So I think that's the thing I want to say. Look for people that will help you take that risk. Realize that failure is a teacher and it's really an important part of your going out of your comfort zone. And as much as possible, I will also say if you get a mentor or an accountability person, that person always tries to push you to be more. Someone that you feel that can push you to be more. When you talk to the person, you are charged up to say, the person has motivated. Those are the 3 things I feel can work. And as we end the year, I think it's fantastic that this is what we are talking about. Have a scary goal, a goal that scares you for next year. Do you understand? And it doesn't have to be, don't say I'm a teacher in a school, it doesn't have to be within the confines of your school. The wonderful thing that 2020 has taught us that you can go into the digital space and go and be a superstar beyond the numbers of your school. So your school has 100 children. You can go and do a conference that 1,500 children will attend. Just have a scary goal for 2022. Thank you.
There you have it. And I know that we could go on and on and on and on and on, but that would be scary use of our time. I just want to say this, I was sharing a particular thought and a particular dream that I had. Not dream as per I slept and I had a dream. I mean a dream that I had with someone, and I think that was about some more people that I've not really shared that dream with people. But it was when I decided to share it that I understood the last statement he made, that sometimes our dreams must transition to becoming a goal. If not, they will never find expression. So when I now decided to speak with that person, a very prominent person, I was waiting for my flight back to Lagos. I decided to share the dream as a goal. And it felt different. It felt empowering. And I just said to myself, it's a crazy and scary thing. I think I've shared with one of you before, but I'm going to say it, not today's show. I'm going to say it with you guys that just I'm putting out there that it's no longer a dream, it's now a goal. And it might also be a 2022 goal. There are many things that have actually come as a result of that. And it's scary, and if I, the courage coach, can tell you that there's a scary goal, trust me, it's scary. But then, of course, it's something that we need to get to trigger ourselves, and everybody's going to be a part of it. The idea is our lives are like open books. And what chapter are people reading? Is it a chapter where you run, or is a chapter where you are running? You know, so much to say, so much to say. But thank you so much for coming out, Adenisola. Thank you for today. Thank you, Titi, for coming back on the show. Thank you, Olushola Olumide. Thank you, Dr. Omotola the Great, with the headphones, you know, like Good Morning Education FM. And of course, thank you, everyone. We will be back tomorrow, same time, God willing, and it's going to be a great time. And until then, we're going to say our sign off together at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
It's always
It's always
a great morning
on the Good
on the
Morning
Good Morning Education Show.
Alero be here
Bye.
tomorrow. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.